Throughout human history, the figure of Jesus Christ has been reinterpreted, reshaped, and reimagined across cultures and regions, giving rise to a myriad of oral traditions that reflect local identities and spiritual perspectives. Among these interpretations is the myth of Black Jesus, a representation of Christ deeply rooted in the histories, struggles, and faith traditions of African and Afro-descendant communities. Central to these myths are tales of miraculous acts, often imbued with darker, more mysterious tones than their canonical counterparts. Stories of Black Jesus raising the dead have circulated in African oral traditions and among the African diaspora, captivating listeners with their profound implications about life, death, and divine power. These stories often blur the line between reverence and fear, inviting reflection on humanity's enduring quest for understanding the unknown. In many African cultures, the figure of Black Jesus is deeply connected to the sacred role of ancestors and spirits, which play a pivotal part in African cosmology. Death, in these traditions, is not an end but a transformation, a passage into another realm where the living and the departed maintain a profound spiritual connection. The idea of a messianic figure, one who not only bridges this divide but also defies death itself, resonates powerfully within such worldviews. Oral traditions describe Black Jesus as more than a savior. He is a mediator of life and death, a divine force capable of undoing the finality of mortality. Yet, these stories often come with warnings, as meddling with the balance of life and death is fraught with consequences that can shake the moral and spiritual order. One of the most chilling tales of Black Jesus raising the dead comes from the oral traditions of West Africa. In this story, a grieving mother pleads with Black Jesus to bring her son back to life after a tragic accident. Moved by her anguish, Black Jesus agrees, but not without a solemn warning. What is returned from death does not come back unchanged. The sun rises, but he is no longer the same. His eyes, once vibrant with life, now hold a shadowy depth that unnerves those who meet his gaze. Though he walks among the living, his presence is a reminder of the unnatural act of disrupting the boundary between life and death. The villagers, initially awed by the miracle, grow uneasy as strange misfortunes begin to befall the community. Crops fail, livestock perish, and illnesses spread without explanation. The tale concludes with a mother begging Black Jesus to return her son to the grave, understanding that the natural order must be respected. Another haunting myth emerges from the African diaspora, particularly in the Caribbean, where the legacy of slavery, resistance, and resilience deeply informs spiritual narratives. In this tale, Black Jesus raises an entire plantation of enslaved individuals who had died under the brutality of their captors. However, the resurrected individuals do not return to their previous state of life. They are described as shadowy figures, filled with an unrelenting thirst for justice. These spectral beings, led by Black Jesus, confront their oppressors in scenes of both vengeance and redemption. While some interpretations frame this story as a testament to divine justice and liberation, others see it as a cautionary tale about the dangers of tampering with forces beyond human comprehension. The image of Black Jesus raising the enslaved dead serves as a powerful metaphor for the resilience of oppressed peoples and their longing for freedom. Yet it also underscores the unsettling implications of wielding such supernatural power. In South Africa, where apartheid and resistance have profoundly shaped cultural narratives, stories of Black Jesus often take on a revolutionary tone. One such story tells of Black Jesus walking through a village decimated by colonial forces, where the bodies of men, women, and children lie lifeless. With a mixture of sorrow and righteous fury, he raises the dead, but their resurrection is not an act of peace. The revived villagers, described as both divine and vengeful, rise as warriors, their eyes glowing with a supernatural light. They march upon the colonial stronghold, their presence alone causing fear and chaos. While the tale ends with the liberation of the village, it carries an ominous note. The resurrected warriors vanish into the mist, unable to return fully to the world of the living. This story, like many others, reflects the duality of hope and fear in these myths, suggesting that even acts of divine intervention are not without complexity and cost. The frightening aspect of these tales lies not only in the supernatural elements, but also in the moral and philosophical questions they raise. In many African and Afro-diasporic traditions, life and death are sacred cycles that must be honored. The power to reverse death is seen as both awe-inspiring and perilous, challenging the delicate balance that holds the universe together. Black Jesus, as portrayed in these myths, is not a figure of unmitigated benevolence. He is a complex, multifaceted being whose miracles serve as lessons as much as blessings. The tales caution against hubris and the desire to control forces that are meant to remain beyond human reach. Additionally, the oral traditions of Black Jesus raising the dead often carry deeply symbolic meanings. In the context of slavery, colonization, and systemic oppression, the act of resurrection can be interpreted as a defiance of forces that sought to strip away life, dignity, and humanity. The dead in these stories are not merely brought back to life. They return as symbols of resistance, justice, and the enduring spirit of the oppressed. At the same time, the fear and unease that accompany these resurrections remind listeners of the profound responsibility that comes with such acts of power. The enduring power of these myths lies in their ability to provoke both awe and reflection. They speak to universal human concerns about mortality, justice, and the mysteries of the divine, while also grounding these themes in the specific historical and cultural experiences of African and Afro-descendant peoples. Black Jesus, as a figure who raises the dead, embodies the tension between hope and fear, life and death, order and chaos. His miracles, while extraordinary, are not without consequence, serving as reminders of the sacredness of life and the boundaries that should not be crossed lightly. These myths continue to be retold, adapted, and reinterpreted, carrying their messages across generations. They are not merely stories of supernatural power. They are reflections of humanity's deepest fears, hopes, and questions. Whether seen as frightening tales, cautionary lessons, or profound spiritual truths, the myths of Black Jesus raising the dead remain a testament to the enduring power of oral traditions to explore the mysteries of existence and the divine.